I turned around. This guy was huge, crew cut, muscles, sleeve rolled up, and his head sitting right down in his, shoulders, huge. So I looked up, and there he was. So he said, "Buddy, how much you charge me to give me a push?" "Oh, charge you anything." I hopped in my car, closed the door, and pulled up behind him. I had a 48 Chevrolet, so it had high bumper guards in the front, you know, on the bumper. So it would be any problem pushing the car. And while I was waiting, and we were matching the bumpers, he said he was out there bending over, stooping down. I said, "Do they match?" He said, "You need to come out and take a look." It was late at night. I was anxious to get to bed. So I hopped out the car and bent over, and boom, he hit me and splat down in the middle of the street. Got back up again. I looked right at him. I was a little fella, very thin, you know. He hit me again. I went down. I got back up again. I looked at him. And then he hit me again. I went down. He jumped up and hit me in the top of the head, right here. So, that's where your temple is, a soft spot. That's supposed to knock you out for real, put a hole in your head. And when I went down, I got back up again. By this time, blood was coming all down my face, and I couldn't really see him too well, but I knew where he was. So I looked, and he was shaking because he couldn't knock me out. Because I was a little fella, and he's supposed to knock me out of the first, swing. So I looked at, and he had a gun in his hand. So that's what he was hitting me with, the butt of this gun. I didn't know what it was. And I realized he was going to shoot me. So I turned and I yelled for my neighbor, who was upstairs on the porch upstairs at my house where I live. And my neighbor came out with a gun. And so I said, "Wait a minute, no, don't shoot." So I stood between my neighbor and the guy who was trying to kill me and said, "Don't shoot, don't shoot, okay?" So while I was protecting the guy who was trying to kill me, the guy took off, jumped in the car. There was nothing wrong with that car, okay? And they took off so fast I didn't know the car had gone. I turned around and saw the headlights. They were my own headlights, okay? So the thing is that in nonviolence, we're taught not to allow someone else to control our behavior. So I refuse to cooperate with him by having unusual behavior. If somebody's trying to knock you out and trying to beat you up, and you stand and you look at them, that's not normal behavior. So that's disconcerting, and it disallows that person to achieve his goal. And truth of the matter is that there's a concept in psychology, it's called stimulus response. If you resist, it stimulates the person, okay? But you resist, but you resist to cooperate with his expectations. That's a form of nonviolent resistance. So it's a fight that goes on, but your fight is not to allow that person to overpower you, even when they use, traditional methods. So he was actually the one that was shaking. He was nervous, okay, and that's why he decided that he was going to finish the job by shooting me. I suspected he was going to try and knock me out and take me, to a group of people who were waiting for me. The FBI came about a week later to investigate and told me that there was a three-state conspiracy. The same night I was killed, rather, that Medgar Evers was killed, they planned to kill me and another person in Louisiana, Ben Elton Cox. If you see the Freedom Rides film, he was on the original Freedom Rides. Kind of a real handsome looking fellow. You see his name. Ben Elton Cox. He was the other one who was supposed to have been killed that same night. Conspiracy was actually planned in New Orleans. Okay? But there have been a number of those kind of situations I've been in. And so that's what we do. We train people in nonviolence, not only for the physical kind of violence, but sometimes people don't get along with each other in their own family. They don't speak to each other. Something somebody said or did carried it all the way to their grave. Something their parents did, their aunts, their uncles. Some comments been made by some members of the family, and so folks don't have anything to do with it, whatever. And even their children, so their cousins that don't communicate. So what we do is help people learn how to reconcile conflict. You don't get rid of conflict, but you have to learn how to live with it and manage it. And also in your job, it's the same thing. A lot more can be accomplished if people collaborate and cooperate with each other. But because of some issue that came up, people let that be the life of their experience on the job. And so they retire. And there's some situations that are not tolerable. So what you have to do is figure out a way to make it more manageable, And some things that people said to each other, they didn't know that they hurt the other person's feelings, Martin Luther King says most often the internal scars that people get actually take longer to heal than the external wounds because you can't see them. Okay, so that's one of the things we do is to train people in kicking nonviolence. Okay. I want to let them ask questions.
Okay.
Yes. Any other questions?